Good morning students, welcome back to the class. Children, today we are going to start chapter 2 titled Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife Resources from your NCERT textbook of geography named Resources and Development. Let us begin with the chapter. When we are talking about land, soil, water, natural vegetation, wildlife resources, children, let us first take land as a topic for today's session, and in the next topic we will be discussing about soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. So let's begin. Children, as you all know, land is among the most important natural resources. It covers only about 30% of the total area of the earth's surface, and all parts of this small percentage are not habitable. So children, in this total earth surface, the percentage of land is only 30%, and out of this 30% also there is a small percentage, not all parts of this percentage is habitable. That means not all part is used by humans to inhabit there. We cannot live there, we cannot use it for agriculture or anything. So from this 30% also, not all the part is habitable. The uneven distribution of population in different parts of the world is mainly due to varied characteristics of land and climate. So the uneven distribution of population, children, you can as you know, the population is not distributed evenly around the world. It is uneven. Some states or some countries are very high in population, whereas some are very low, some are moderate, but there is no even distribution of the population. And why is it so? It is due to the different characteristics of the land and climate. The rugged topography, steep slopes of the mountains, low-lying areas susceptible to waterlogging, desert areas, thick forested areas are normally sparsely populated or uninhabited. Plains and river valleys offer suitable land for agriculture, hence these are the densely populated areas of the world. So children, as you know, there is not a large amount of population that lives in the steep slopes of the mountains or the area where waterlogging takes place, or the desert. In the desert also, you know, there is very less population, or the population is sparsely populated. In the thick forest areas you will find no inhabitants there. Only you can find tribal people living in the thick forested areas. That also some of the tribes, not all of them. Plain and river valleys offer suitable land for agriculture. So children, the area where the land is suitable for agriculture, you will always find more amount of population in these areas. That is why these are the densely populated areas of the world. Land is used for different purposes such as agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses, roads, and setting up of industries. This is commonly termed as land use. So what is land use, children? When we use the land for different purposes such as forestry, mining, building houses, roads, and setting up of industries. Now there is one fact, children. Do you know 90% of the world population occupies only 30% of land area? So just try to understand it. 90% of the world population, and we occupy only 30% of the land area. The remaining 70% of the land is either sparsely populated or uninhabited. Just imagine, children, 70% of the land is uninhabited, or if it is habited, it is very sparsely populated. Now there are some common property resources. Land can also be divided on the basis of private land and community land. Private land is owned by individuals, whereas community land is owned by the community for common uses like collection of fodder, fruits, nuts or medicinal herbs. So children, the land that is owned by individual is called private land, whereas the land that is owned by the community and they use it for some common uses like collection of fodder, fruits, medicinal herbs or nuts, this will be termed as the community land. These community lands are also called common property resources. So So they are called the common property resources. People and their demands are ever growing, but the availability of land is limited. So children, our demands are growing every year. We want more, we want something more, but the availability of the land is limited. It won't grow. It has a fixed amount and it is limited. People started encroaching the common lands to build up commercial areas, housing complex in the urban areas, and to expand the agricultural land in the rural areas. So why are we using the land, the common lands? They are where people are using it to build up commercial areas. You know what are commercial areas? Creating shops there, creating malls there, or the housing complexes in the urban areas, and again to expand the agricultural land in the rural areas. Land degradation, landslides, soil erosion, desertification are the major threats to the environment because of the expansion of agriculture and constructional activities. So children, land degradation, landslides, soil erosion and desertification, these are major threats to the environment. Why? Because of the expansion of these agriculture and construction activities, we are using them for the other purposes, where the land is getting degraded, the quality of the land is decreasing. See the pictures here, 4 pictures are given here on the screen, children. You can clearly see the difference among these. This is how the land has been changing over the years. In the first picture you can see there is a lot of agricultural land, free land, and people are using handmade tools for agriculture. There are huts, not pakka houses. And in the second picture you can see the agricultural land has decreased. People are using machinery like tractor for agriculture, and the houses are built with concrete and everything. In the third picture you can see there is more modernization, more agricultural land has been degraded, has been decreased, number of vehicles have increased and numbers of houses have increased. And in the last picture you can clearly see industrialization, where you cannot see the agricultural land, only companies, factories, buildings and a huge amount of vehicles on the roads. This is how land has been changing over the year, children, and are causing damage to our environment. Now it is very important for us to conserve the land resources because it is one of the natural resources. Its amount is limited and we won't get it again if it gets destroyed. Growing population and their ever-growing demand has led to a large-scale destruction of forest cover and arable land and has created a fear of losing this natural resource. So our growing population, children, and our ever-growing demand that never stops, it has caused in the destruction of forest cover and also created a fear of losing this natural resource. We might lose it one day, children. Therefore, the present rate of degradation of land resources must be checked. Afforestation, land reclamation, regulated use of chemical, pesticide and fertilizers, and checks on overgrazing are some of the common methods used to conserve land. So children, when we cause deforestation, we should plant more trees and enhance afforestation to protect the land. When the land we have destroyed, we must find ways to reclaim it, to make it fertile again. The use of chemical, pesticides and fertilizers must be decreased to maintain the fertility of the agricultural fields, and overgrazing must be checked. Why? Because when the animals, children, they overgraze, what happens? The soil becomes loose. So when the rain occurs, the soil flows down and causes soil erosion. So the topmost fertile layer of the soil gets flowed with the rainwater and it is destroyed. The lands become barren. So overgrazing must be checked. The grass is very important on the top layer of the soil. It maintains the soil fertility and holds the soil in its place. These are some of the methods which can be used to conserve the land. Landslides are simply defined as the mass movement of rock, debris or earth down a slope. So you know what is landslide, children? It is the mass movement of the rocks. You might have also seen landslides, as you can see it in the picture here. When through a slope, a large amount of a mass movement of rock or debris of the earth, it can have soils and other things with it, it flows down a slope. This is termed as landslide. They often take place in conjunction with earthquakes, floods and volcanoes. So when there is an earthquake or flood or volcano, landslide is most likely to occur. A prolonged spell of rainfall can cause heavy landslide that can block the flow of river for quite some time. So if there is a heavy rainfall, children, it can also cause a heavy landslide and it can block the flow of the river for quite some time. The formation of river blocks can cause havoc to the settlements downstream on its bursting. So when this blockage it bursts, it can cause damage to the settlements, the people, those who are living around it, near it, it can cause a great damage to those. In the hilly terrain, landslides have been a major and widely spread natural disaster that often strike life and property and occupy a position of major concern. So in the hilly areas, children, it is quite common. As you can see in the Uttarakhand region, it is totally hilly area. So landslides are most common here, and it is also the major threat to people here, as it often strikes life and property. Mitigation techniques. Now children, advancement in scientific techniques has empowered us to understand what factors cause landslides and how to manage them. So here are some broad mitigation techniques of landslides. Hazard mapping. This is the first one. It helps us to locate areas prone to landslides. So through hazard mapping, we can find out the areas that are more prone to landslides, where landslides can occur. Hence, such areas can be avoided for building settlements. So when we know this area is prone to landslide can occur very easily here. So settlements should be avoided there. Construction of retention wall to stop land from slipping. As you can see in the picture below, children, the white color wall that you see is the retention wall. These kind of walls are built to stop the land from slipping. So when there is a landslide, if it slips down the slope, then this retention wall will stop the amount of the rocks or the debris that are flowing down this slope. So it will decrease the flow of the landslide. Increase in the vegetation cover is an effective way to arrest landslides. So if we have a large amount of vegetation, if we promote afforestation, the trees, the roots will hold the soil, and it is also an effective way to stop the landslide. The surface drainage control works are implemented to control the movement of landslide along with rainwater and spring flows. So when we have surface drainage controls, are those measures that will help to stop the movement of the landslide along with the rainwater and spring flows. So this is it for today, children. I hope you would have understood the topic and enjoyed it. We'll continue this topic in the next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.